I'm live again. Let's see what happens with the chat. I'm going to put it back up in my phone holder if I can without turning it off. I took it off the phone holder so I could go into my settings and try to figure out what was going on. All right, now 25 seconds in, I changed all the settings to what was recommended, and we're going to see how this goes. Maybe we'll get a good live going now. It's almost 7 o'clock. So I am a little bit late getting that started, but you know the old saying, better late than never. I think that's the way it goes. Anyhow, I'm starting this up. Okay, hey, I got one person on there. Hi. According to what I did, I should see some messages off to the side. Let's see if we get any response. Okay. So I have, come on, Jay, get up here. Have a dog down here wanting to jump in my lap. Come on, get up here. Come on. Come on. I'm sitting here in silence because I'm waiting on her to jump up. Come on, Jay, jump up here. Come on. Anyway, I've got it up. I've got it set up the way I told. I've got my screen rotated now, so hopefully if I get any comments, they'll be over to the side. And maybe this will work. Here's Jade, and Ginger's also up here. She's laying down. Here's the other one. So the whole gang's here now. We're ready for any questions that you want to ask us, as long as they're appropriate. Nothing inappropriate, because I won't answer that. You can leave any comments that you want, and hopefully we'll see them. It's very cold outside here. I'm in Missouri. I was going to write down a bunch of information about me so that I could chat and tell you in between questions about myself for my new subscribers that don't know a whole lot about me. I'm 71 years old. I've had my YouTube channel for 4 years, and I have 9 brothers and sisters, 3 brothers, 6 sisters, and I had a set of twin brothers. Yes, it's working. Thank you. Thank you. I can see the chats now. I had a set of twin brothers, and one of my twin brothers passed away. I have 2 dogs. One is a Dachshund named Jade, and the other is a Chihuahua named Ginger. Now, Ginger is a rescue dog. She come from a place where they weren't treating her very nice, and the girl contacted me and asked me if I would take her, so I did. And Jade was kind of a birthday present that I got from a girl that I used to work with. I've had her since she was semi a puppy. I call it a teenager because she wasn't like a little teeny tiny puppy. She was partially grown when I got her. So she's been with me ever since. So any bad habits that she's picked up, that's on me. Now this one here, the bad habits that she got them before she came with me. She is very skittish. She's scared of loud noises. She doesn't like me clapping my hand. There's no telling what's going to make her be scared and upset. Yes, Jade is my constant companion. Even when I'm in the bathroom, these girls are in there. Of course, I think that's normal for anybody that's got dogs. They want to be with you. It's kind of like they say, that pack mentality. The dogs travel together in a pack. I'm the leader of the pack. I'm the alpha dog, so they want to be with me, follow me where I go. So they do try to follow me, and they sleep with me sometimes. I've gotten here lately where they don't want to come in there, and so I just kind of shut the door and leave them out. But now Jade's been sleeping with me since she's a puppy. Oh, I used to have a rabbit too. Somebody just left me a comment that they had a pet rabbit. I had a little bunny rabbit. Her name was, or his, I think it was a boy. I named him Jack Bunny. But And I thought about getting another pet here, not another dog or cat or hamster or anything. I'm thinking about getting a bird. I used to have birds. I used to raise parakeets, and I do have several cages back there. So it wouldn't be any problem. I've even got bird feed in my icebox that I've had for quite some time. Birds are wonderful pets. I know they're messy. People say, I don't want a bird because they're messy. What I do is I put their food down low in the bottom of the cage, and then I look at Jade, high five. I wrap it with saran wrap, and that kind of keeps the seeds from bouncing down in the floor. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting another one, and I've got these two big, what they call flight cages. They're really large, and then I've got two of the smaller bird cages that are really not good for but one bird. The flight cages, you can put probably a dozen birds in there and live comfortably. But these are my two babies right now. As I've mentioned before, and those of you who watched my November video know, I used to have one child who was killed, and I am going to be doing a video about that one of these days. I'm not to the point now where I can talk about it. He has been gone for going on 7 years, but that's something that never leaves a parent. You're always going to think about that. If you have children, if something happens to them, you think about them. It never goes away. It's always a part of your life. Yes. Thank you for that. I am a Christian. I do have Jesus in my life. I have a personal relationship with Jesus. I had a lot of people leave me comments in my November video telling me to get in church and that Jesus would take care of me and stuff. I am a Christian, and I am. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, I do have two grandchildren. Now, I touched on this a little bit, and I think a lot of people were confused. I have two grandsons, which I've never met, and people are confused. Oh, I forgot to turn. Well, I can't. I had a phone call come in. The reason I haven't never met my grandchildren, my son was in the army and he moved away from the town that we lived in. And when he retired from the army, he settled in Washington, D.C. And that's where he was at when he was killed. So that's why I've never met my grandchildren. Now, right now, I don't have any kind of a relationship with his widow, his wife. Um, I have no way really of getting in touch with her. I am going to try to reach out to her. I've had someone that's been on my channel for a while that was able to find an address, and it seems like there's a lot of people. Yes, because when I'm changing from one subject because I'm trying to answer comments as they come in questions. Doing these lives gives me a chance to interact with you and answer your questions as you ask them so that I can be more specific about it. As far as like my grandchildren, I had never been around them because he was living in Washington. And then when he died, his widow actually moved from there someplace, and I had no idea where she was at. So I had no contact with her. But I do have an address now, and I am going to write and see what develops. I don't know if she'll want to have anything to do with me since she hasn't reached out to me. I'm sure she knows where I live. I'm sure he told her, that my bio mom lives, in the town that I live in, but she's never sent me any letters or tried to contact me in any way. So yes, that would be great. Being a grandmother at 71 would be a new experience. A lot of people get to be grandmothers when they're young, because their children have babies early. I was close to 30 when I had Alex, and yes, I would. I mean, I don't know that she's going to be happy about hearing from me, but I'm going to give it a try. all she can do is just not respond, and that is not any different than what's been going on. So it's not going to hurt me anymore, really, I don't think, because up until this time, she's not had anything to do with me. So if she chooses not to respond to my letter, then it'll just be just like it's always been. But he joined the army straight out of high school, moved away, and he told me he was never coming back to this town because there wasn't nothing here for him. He didn't have a life here. He wasn't happy here. So that may be part of the reason why she's not reached out to me. I know she'd never consider moving here. It'd be me having to move up there close to her if she decides to let me have anything to do with the grandkids. Two boys. I do know their names. Not really sure their ages. They were quite young when he was killed. They're still young. I think one of them may be close to being a teenager. I'm not sure. Uh, to give some fill in while I'm waiting for people to ask me any questions. Some of my hobbies that I enjoy doing, I like to sew. I think a lot of you already know that because I've been making a quilt for quite some time. I'm working on making Christmas presents for my family members. I have been making these things called, oh, I'm 71 for the person that just asked me that. I'm 71 years old. Um, I tried to I think talk about this in one of the lives earlier that didn't go through. But I'm 71 and I come from a family of nine brothers and sisters, six girls, three boys. My mama was a stay-at-home mom. She didn't work. She was always there when we got off the school bus or when we walked home. Now, later on in life, my father had a stroke and my mama did go to work. She went to work at Walmart while my daddy was disabled. And my dad was what I called a freelance mechanic. It's not a car mechanic. He didn't work on cars. He worked in bars on those. He worked on jukeboxes, pinball machines, skee ball, bumper pull. He fixed cigarette machines, candy machines, and these places that had these photo booths where you get in and take your pictures. He worked on those. He pretty much worked 7 days a week. Um, and the reason I remember a lot of this as a child, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that very much. Um, the he Wow, 13 is a lot of kids. I always thought we had a big family with nine, but I found out there's a lot of people that are in my age group that come from even larger families. You know, I'm talking like 10 to 13 kids. And I think the reason that people had a lot of children back in, yes, we had twins in our family too. I actually had twin uncles, and I think I had twin cousins, and then my mom had twins, and there's something showing up. Somehow or another, I was supposed to be able to turn off all these notifications that keep coming up. I don't know how to do it. Hi. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, which I haven't done a lot of lives, so thank you for coming. And I think they had a lot of children because they farmed. A lot of them were farmers, and they use it for help. Hi, they use it for help on the farm. You know, that was cheap labor. If you had a lot of kids, you could have your kids help you milk the cow, feed the chickens, slop the pigs. And I've seen videos on YouTube of young children driving farm equipment. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Your grandparents probably had kids because that was a big boost. You know, they couldn't afford a lot of help back in the days of depression. So anybody that had a lot of children got the help they needed when the children got to an age, of course, where they could help. And they could drive the tractors and stuff. You didn't have to have a license or anything. I guess if it's on your farm, you know, and you teach your kids how to drive the tractor when they're 12, 13, 14 years old. And that's also a good thing too, because that helps when they get of age to get their driver's license. They already pretty much know how to steer and to control a vehicle and all that stuff. So I think that's probably it. My mama never learned how to can or do any of that, but my grandma did. So they always had a big garden. So they raised their chickens for meat and eggs, and their pigs for pork, to have hams and stuff, and do the smokehouses where they hung the bacon and stuff up. My grandmother canned a lot. I wish she had taught me how to can. I really, truly do. And I could probably learn how to do it now, even. But my grandmother canned a lot of stuff, and she never, for some reason, either my mom didn't want to learn, or she just never got around to teaching my mom how to can. My mom never canned. And I can remember my Aunt Betty saying, "My grandmother learned, but my mom didn't, so I didn't." Yeah, that's pretty much the way I am. Um, my Aunt Betty used to ask my mom, "I don't know how you never learned to can with all these kids." Because, that really would have helped her out a lot. Maybe not. My mom didn't live so much during the time when we had a garden in the backyard. In fact, I don't think I ever remember my parents having a garden in the backyard. If they did, I don't remember it. But my mom just bought most of her vegetables and stuff at the grocery store. So it kind of wasn't even a necessity for her. She didn't really even have to learn how to can. Um, my dad was not a hunter. I don't think any of my brothers ever hunted. I sure never did. That was something I was not interested in, was picking up a gun and going out and shooting something to have to put on the table. My daddy never did that. I always said we got our meat from Piggly Wiggly on a styrofoam plate. Yes, I think about that all the time, about things that have passed away. Um, Drive-in theaters, there's still a few of them around, but that was a big thing when I was growing up. I remember my mommy and daddy um, putting us in the back seat of their car, and my mom would pop up a big old bag, them brown paper grocery bags of popcorn, put a cooler full of drinks. Usually it was Kool-Aid, and we would go to the drive-in theater and watch whatever movie was there. They always had cartoons at the beginning, so as kids would watch the cartoons. Yes, roller skating was really big when we were growing up. Yes, I remember my daddy doing that too. He would take us kids to the roller rink, give us the money to get in, drop us off, and tell us, I'll be back at whatever time. And we would just get in there, and I never knew how to skate, at the beginning, so I'd fall down a lot. I did learn eventually. But you know what's funny? I used to think growing up that I was poor and neglected and didn't get to do a lot. But now that I look back on it, us children in my family, we actually had a lot of stuff that other children growing up at our time did not have. Jade's trying to give me sugar kisses. We went on vacations, and I've been to Disneyland, Knoxbury Farm. My dad took us to places like that. He'd take us to the museum parks and pay for us to get in. This is before there was a lot of child endangerment. And he'd pay for us to get in and turn us loose and say, "Okay, meet me and your mom back here at, wherever they were sitting at in a couple of hours." And we'd take off by ourselves in these amusement parks and ride the rides and walk around and stuff, and didn't have to worry about being kidnapped or child predators or anything like that. Um, we had Easter baskets. We had bicycles. Um, we had a swing set in our backyard. I mean, these are things that I look back on it now and I'm thinking I actually had a pretty gifted childhood and just didn't realize it growing up. I always felt like, that I did without a lot, which was not true. Um, and like I say, my mom didn't work. She stayed at home. It was my dad. But my dad, he pretty much worked 7 days a week from morning till up. And everything that was provided for us, my dad did. My mom had, I guess he gave her a little bit of shopping money, budget money or whatever. He would drive her to the grocery store, and I don't know if he went in with her. Us kids weren't allowed to go. Like a lot of people take their kids to the groceries. We didn't go. But Daddy and Mama would go to the grocery store on Saturday, and mom would do the shopping for the week and bring it home. So he must have gave her a little bit of money, and maybe she budgeted into that because she bought Avon. She bought off the bakery truck. We had bakery trucks back when I was growing up that came around. She would buy us kids ice cream from the Good Humor ice cream truck. She bought off a company called Jewel Tea, so she had a little bit of extra money. And at one point, she joined a weight loss group called Tops, and you have to pay a fee to be in that, and then you have what's called a secret pal, that you get one secret pal each month, and you take in gifts for them. So she had to have a little bit of extra spending money even then. We always lived in really nice houses. When I think about it now, a lot of people that I know said they growed up in sheds basically with outdoor toilets. Some didn't even have indoor water, they had to use the outdoor pump. We always had bathtubs and showers. We had indoor plumbing. We had electric, and some places I think we even had air conditioning. When we lived in California, we had I I guess it was like an air conditioner. They always called it a water cooler in the window. You had to pour water in it, and it would evaporate out and kind of cool the house down. That's what we had. Um, We had new clothes at the beginning of the school year. We always got a few new clothes at Christmas. We had Easter outfits. Um, I'm trying to think what other stuff we had. Now that I look back on it, these things mean a lot to me because, that stuff my parents really didn't have to do if they didn't choose, because they were struggling for money. But evidently, we weren't struggling for money because, like I said, we had really nice things in our house, even like what was considered trendy at that time. We had that. Um, because of my dad's job, a lot of times, I don't know if they gave him this stuff or it was junk and they were going to throw it away and he just took it or what. But we had a jukebox at one time. We had a garage that had a jukebox in it that worked. And the reason I remember this, we had a Halloween party in there. And we used the jukebox to play the music for a Halloween party. Um, we did have a pool table, but it was never set up for us to use it. It was in the garage and it was sitting up against the wall. My daddy had that. We had a pinball machine in our backyard that we used to play. So, see, I'm thinking about all these things, remembering them as a child growing up, and we had that along with the swing set and the bicycles and stuff. But and that's stuff that a lot of kids didn't have uh, privy to was jukeboxes and pinball machines in their house. Um, my dad used to bring home the photographs that he would, when he would work all these photo booths, which they still have these nowadays, I think, in malls where you get in there. The ones that my daddy took were all black and white. But like after he worked on it and fixed it and got it going, he had to test it out. So he would get in there and take pictures and he'd make goofy faces and stuff. And I remember seeing those photographs laying around the house. In fact, I think I've even got some of them in my photo albums in there. But he bring candy home from the candy machines that he worked on. Um, he, I'm trying to think of some of this other stuff that he brought home from work. Gosh, there was just so much. There's a lot that I had forgotten about that's coming back to me now. Our vacations were generally traveling between California to Missouri because that's where my mom's parents lived, my grandparents, and sometimes we would travel out to Missouri to live out there. And I've lived in Missouri, lots and lots of different places in Missouri. I've lived in St. Louis. I've lived in Kennett, Missouri. I was actually born in Kennett, Missouri. Hayti, Crothersville, Zenith, um, Wapapello, and then the town that I'm living in now. That's all I can remember. And then in California, I lived all over different places in California too. I lived in West Covina, El Monte, Hacienda Heights, La Puente, a lot of the suburbs out in California. I went to school in California, and they had swimming pools in the schools there in California because that was part of your PE class. Was you got to take swimming in your PE class, and I could remember doing that. My mama would always fix our lunches to take to school, and it was usually a bologna sandwich with cheese on white bread, a little bag, Ziploc baggie of potato chips, and a couple of chocolate chip cookies. That's pretty much what we took every time. If we couldn't get home, that's if we had to pack our lunch to school. If we lived close enough to walk, we would walk home for our lunch, and Mama would fix us a hot lunch, usually a bowl of soup and a sandwich. And very rarely did we eat in the lunchroom. I think there might have been a few times back during when they gave out those free lunch tickets where if you qualified for low income family, you could get a free lunch. I think maybe we might have got that a few times. I'm not really sure. Um, but mostly we took our lunch. I'm trying to read the comments. Yeah. We took it, and my mama would put it in. She'd get the brown little sandwich bags to put our lunch in. But if she didn't have any of them or she forgot to buy them at the grocery store, she would put our lunch in a bread bag for us to take. If she didn't have any empty bread bags, she would take one of those great big brown paper bags that we got our groceries in. She'd cut the top off and put our lunch in that and roll the top down, and that's what we took. I can still remember that because it embarrassed me to have to take that big old brown paper bag with a cut off top to school to have my lunch. But you got to eat your lunch. Um, and when I was growing up, I consider myself as a good kid. I'm maybe not the best. I guess sometimes I was mean, did mean things, but I never smoked or drank or anything when I was under my dad's roof. I didn't do drugs or anything like that. Growing up, basically because I was scared of my father. He always told us, if you ever did any of this stuff, and that was the pull off the belt kind of thing. My dad was not afraid to whip us. We got whippings growing up. Hope I don't get demonetized for saying all this, but that was what we grew up with. And I had high respect for my dad because you didn't get away with anything. If he told you not to do it, you were not going to do it. My mom didn't have a whole lot to say about disciplining us. She kind of let him do it. I do think I remember a few times if we did something, she'd say, "You just wait till your dad gets home." And then she'd tell daddy and he'd spank us. Um, I have a video. I think I can't remember the title of it. I'll have to look it up. But it's about the time that me and one of my friends, or maybe it was one of my sisters, drink up on her shoes out there. And oh, that's cute. That's cute. Your grandma. That's kind of like what I was. I really actually didn't even try any alcohol till I was divorced and out on my own. And I think I was 23 or 24. And that was back, whenever kids would sneak a beer. My dad drank beer, so there was beer in the house. I mean, I could have got in the icebox and got a beer out anytime I wanted, but I wasn't interested in it. And and the only reason I did then was because I was single and divorced, and that's what everybody did to be hanging around with their friends was go to the bars and drink and stuff. But I was going to tell you, I have a video on my channel um, where me and either a sister or a friend were walking around the neighborhood and we saw a fish pond, and we went up there and there was fish in it, so we were going to get some out for a pet. So we went back home and got plastic bags and came back, and we were in there digging around trying to get those fish out, and the owner of the house came out and caught us. But I'm not going to tell you the rest of it because I do have video on it. Go to my playlist. I'll come back on here in my community tab if you guys want to watch that video. And I'll put the title of it in there and tell you where you can find it at, what playlist it's in. And you can go watch the time that I tried to still go fish. Another one of my videos that I'm kind of proud of myself that I made. This was right after I started my YouTube channel. and I didn't know a whole lot about editing and doing stuff, but I come up with the idea of doing a video of two people in the video because it's just me, and one of them was my younger self. And I put this together of me giving a talk to my younger self. And I'm kind of proud of that one because I actually did short little videos, a whole bunch of them, and then snipped them all together to make one video of me talking to myself. And that's called, and I have a little chat with myself. I think it's I think it's in my playlist called fun videos. I think that's what it, and it might be in Life Goes On. If you guys are interested in seeing that video, I'll go into my playlist and find it and put it in my community tab as well. These are just some of the older videos that I did. I've come a long way as far as learning how to edit a lot. I still can't do some things. I have not figured out how to put links to other people's videos in like a description. And I don't know as far as like typing out recipes if I have to get on there and manually type individually to type out recipes. I don't have a computer. Everything I do on my channel, I'm doing it like what you're seeing right here on my phone. I have a Android phone. It's a Samsung, and I do all my editing. I make my own thumbnails because I don't know how to make professional thumbnails. Um, but like if there's a product that I wanted to tell you about, I wouldn't know how to put the links down below. I haven't learned how to do that yet. I'm working on that, and I will, because at one time I didn't know how to do thumbnails, and now I can. And on my description box, that little banner that goes across the top, at one time I didn't know how to put that up there. I've got one up there now. I've learned how to do that. So I've taught myself a lot on this channel, but it's by going on YouTube and watching videos of people that tell you how to make your channel better. They tell you how to grow your channel, things not to do, things to do that will increase your channel's growth. I watched a lot of those in the beginning, and those helped me out a lot. It would help a lot if I had a computer, but I did have a computer here at one time, and I'm so stupid as far as technology goes. I could not figure out how to hook it up to the Wi-Fi. I do have Wi-Fi here because I have for my internet on my TV, but I couldn't figure out how to hook that computer up to the Wi-Fi so that I could even use it. And it sat over there on the corner for a long time. I never even got it out. I got it out when I first bought it home and messed with it and tried to fix it and couldn't do nothing. I got frustrated, so I stuck it over there on the cabinet. And I finally ended up sending it to a lady who's a big part of my channel. She's been with me for quite some time. So I just went ahead and boxed it up and sent it to her because I knew that she would appreciate it. Her computer was messed up and it was giving her some problems. And since I wasn't using that one, it was brand new. I bet I didn't even have an hour of work on, of using it. So I just boxed it up and sent it to her. And I've gotten a lot of nice gifts from different people over the years through my YouTube channel, which I really appreciate. Those of you who've watched recently seen that I just did a mail call video where I opened up a great big box from one of my YouTubers, and she's probably watching right now, but she's not commenting. And she sent me so many nice things. The thing that I've got it sitting right over there. She sent me one of those wax melt that you plug in, which I did not have. And I don't have it turned on because I took the thing out of it and put it in the ice box so I can get the wax out of it and put some new smell in there. But not only did she send me that, she sent me a great big humongous box of wax melts, which I totally wasn't expecting that. That was such a surprise. And I was going to get out earlier today and take a walk, but the temperature turned off so cold, I didn't know if I'd be able to stand it. I generally just walk around the block here. I go out through the alley and go down around through this empty vacant lot, walk around and take my dogs with me. And I usually take my camera and do a video of it. But I'm thinking maybe the next time I do a walking video with the girls, I'll just go to the park. There's a lot more room there to walk. And there's an area in the back where I could go and let them, I can't turn them loose, but I can let them walk for quite some time. And I can take my phone and videotape that. I could even take my tripod and do like I did that one time I went to the park where I sat down and set my tripod down and talk to you guys. So that'll be in one of the upcoming videos. But yeah, if y'all new subscribers on here, if there's anything you need to know about me, um, like I told you, I am 71. I had that question somebody asked me. I don't have any children because my only child was killed. I do have grandchildren. Um, I have a few cousins left. I have two uncles and one aunt left. My hobbies are sewing, crafting, cooking, painting, embroidering, quilting, coloring in coloring books, watching movies, reading. My favorite type of books I like to read are true crime detective novels, autobiographies. I really enjoy those. I like to read books, about people's lives, autobiographies about famous people and what they growed up like, what kind of things they did as a child, how they ended up being a famous person. And I enjoy reading true crime. Also enjoy watching documentaries of true crimes because I always liked science in school. I was always interested in the mind and how it worked and how people think. I'm interested in studying why people do things, how they come up with the conclusion that that would be the best thing to do. So I'm interested in watching the true crime detectives because um, it just it's interesting to know that the capable things that people come up with, ideals to do the stuff they do. Just here recently, I watched a docu on YouTube about that little girl called Gypsy Rose, and that was really interesting. Um, I have a few of the novels over there that I haven't read that are true crime. The books go into more detail, and they can tell you more about because they have all the evidence that the police have gathered. Where they, like after a crime's committed, they go to these people's houses, and gather the evidence, and they'll pick up anything that might give them a clue as to why the person did what they did, how they did it. So the books will go into more detail. That's why I enjoy reading the books. Um, I like to cook and try new recipes. I don't know too much about podcasts. Um, I don't really understand how that's different than a YouTube video. I've seen a few people do podcast views on their channel. I watch a lady called Chickens by the Lake. She just recently added a podcast thing to her channel, and to me, I don't see how it's any different than her regular YouTube. Her YouTube is she's doing vlogs of her daily life where she goes shopping and grocery shopping, and she brings her stuff home and shows you, and she makes recipes and stuff, and she goes through drive-throughs and she eats her food in front of the camera and feeds her chickens and stuff like that. And her podcast, Jade's trying to tell me she wants to go out. Her podcast, she's sitting in front of a microphone just talking about a subject. So I don't really understand what a podcast is. If you want to explain to me how a podcast is different than a YouTube video, because, and I only have Facebook as another social media because I barely have enough energy and time to keep my YouTube channel going. I don't see how these people have YouTube channels, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all these other social medias that they keep up with. Oh, okay. It's kind of like a radio. Oh, all right. So basically, you put on a podcast. I could put on a podcast and go in the kitchen and do dishes and clean and listen to that. Is that what you're saying? So, because like I understand on YouTube, a lot of times you got to be sitting right in front of it and watching it. Like if they're doing a recipe or a craft, you have to be there sitting and watching it. So if it was a podcast, I wouldn't have to do that. I'd be able to just listen to it. That would be good. Okay. No, I didn't know that. And I don't know. I could probably figure out some way of doing a podcast on my channel, but I would have had that big fancy microphone that people use. Oh, that would be cool. Where would I find those? Somebody just posted on there they have a lot of true crime podcasts. I would definitely be interested in that. I would love to hear those. True crime, yes. Um, a lot of times I turn my TV on. When I go to a channel that I like and I subscribe to it, it's a new channel, I generally go back to the very beginning of um, their channel and watch all their videos. Spotify. I have Spotify. I do. I have the Spotify hooked up on my TV. I generally use the Spotify for listening to music. So now that I know that, next time after I end this live, I'll go on there and I'll hook up my Spotify and see if I can find some. That would be great. Thank you for that. Now, what was I saying? I forgot. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get old. Um, Oh, I wanted to tell for those of you who have been watching me do my meal planning with my meal planning hauls, it's going to be a little bit. I got to scratch my nose. It's going to be a little bit before I put up another one of my meal planning uh, videos because over Thanksgiving break, I had 4 different plates of food brought to me. My neighbor brought me some. My cousin brought me some. Hi. Hello. I can't, well, it went away before I could see it. And I ate off those plates for many, many days. My cousin's plate she brought me was just huge. Okay, cool. I'll do that. She brought me a big old plate of food and she brought me a whole entire pumpkin roll cake. And I ate off those for days and days. So that kind of pushed my menu back. I've still got a lot of food on this last one that I had set up that I haven't made yet. I'm going to make that and finish this one out, and then I'll be doing another one. And when I go to the store to buy the food to go with it, I'll show you the menu. Come on, Jade. Jade's wanting back up here. She got down. I'll show you the menu, and I'll show you the foods that I got to go with it and let you know how much I spent for that month. But it's going to be a while because I still got a lot. The chicken and stuffing casserole is going to be one of the dishes that I use quite frequently because that was just so good. Oh my, I can't tell you how good that was. It was wonderful. And I'll be making that again. I like casseroles. I love to make a lot of different casseroles. That's my favorite thing to cook is casserole, besides desserts. And I've been making a lot of those casseroles here lately because of the meal planning, because I've been using them on that. But one of my, yes, I'm definitely going to have to go on there and check that out. That's a good idea. I'm glad you come here and told me that. I would watch a lot of YouTube. Oh, I know what I was telling you. I go back to the beginning of a YouTube channel and watch all of them so I can get to know them and find out about them, what they like, how many people in their family, their names, their pets, and stuff. And what I do is I hook it up to my TV on that little thing that's at the top of the YouTube thing where you can tap and set up to watch a whole bunch of them back to back. And I'll go to the beginning of their channel and tap like 10 of them and just let the TV play back to back all their videos. And I'll sit here and watch them and leave comments if, there's something I want to comment about. But I like to watch all my people that I've subscribed to. I like to watch their channel from the beginning to get to know everything about them. And then once I get to the beginning of where the news is, I like to keep up with it. When they post a new video, I like to go there and watch it. I've added just a couple of new channels here lately. I haven't found a whole lot of them that I'm really interested in subscribing to. There's one that I've recently been watching. I've not added it to my channels. I haven't subscribed, but they do a lot of cooking videos on there. It's a family, and they do a lot of cooking videos, and they've did several recipes on there that I'm wanting to try. So I'll probably do some of those, and when I do, I will. I'm sure I'll make a video and post it on my YouTube for you guys to watch as well. And when I do, I'll put in there all the information about that channel in case you want to go there and watch that too. I got one dog here sleeping, and I got another dog over here that's uh, licking her toe or something. That's Ginger. Jade, I think Jade's 6 going on 7. And they told me when I got Ginger, I think they told me she was 3 years old or 4. So she'll be going on 5. I'm not really sure exact what her age is. I haven't had her very long. But they've got sweaters I'm going to put on them when we take our walk. I'll put their little coats on them so they don't get chilled. And we'll go to the park and we'll walk and we'll do a video and we'll come back home and I'll post that video for you guys to see. But I'm working on my Christmas presents for my family and friends. I'm making the kitchen boas, the plate cozies, the bowl cozies, the casserole cozies. I'm making jar lid grippers. There was some other stuff that I made. Oh yeah, I made pillowcase covers. And I was thinking about making some aprons to send out to people too. I haven't done that yet. I like to collect old antique patterns. And our local thrift store has a section where it's nothing but old patterns, paper patterns. And I think they sell them for like 10 cents to 50 cents a piece. And I bought several there. I don't go there very often. I only go there usually when I'm looking for one thing in specific. I'm thinking about getting me a bread machine too because I'm watching another YouTuber that had just recently dug her bread machine out. She said she had it for a long time. She just never used it. And she got a bunch of flour and sugar and stuff given to her from the food bank. So she got her bread machine out. And she'd been making bread, and that's kind of making me think, I think I'd kind of like to make some homemade bread in a bread machine too. So next time I go to the thrift store, I'm going to look. At one time, they had Boo Goodles of bread machines in there. And I did buy a popcorn popper there. And but I haven't even hardly used that. I thought I'd use it a lot when I first got it, but I haven't really hardly used it. I may end up selling that on Facebook Marketplace. But I'm thinking about getting a bread machine. My mama had a bread machine at one time, and she used to make all kinds of bread machines. Oh, bucket list for writing bread. Oh, the thing about it is, my mama would make the bread in the bread machine, and I like the fact that you just throw everything in and the bread machine does it for you. Anything that has to cook with yeast, I'm not good at it at all. I either get the water too hot or too cold. And from what I understand, when you put it in the bread machine takes care of that for you. I don't know. Maybe you have to put warm water in there with it. I do have a thermometer in there that I could, check the temperature of it. But I'm just not good baking anything that has yeast in it. But my mama had pretty good luck doing it with her bread machine. So I'm thinking maybe I might get me a bread machine. See how that goes. But and speaking of the person that talked about the bucket list, I have a bucket list. It's got a lot of different stuff on there. I know I'm not going to get to do all these before I die because I don't have that many days left on this earth. I want to ride in a hot air balloon. I don't think I've ever been on a train. I want to go to New York City and visit Central Park. I want to ride through a horse-drawn cart in Central Park and eat ice cream. That's on my bucket list. I'd like to ride a camel. I'd like to ride an elephant. I don't care about going out of the United States, like to Paris or Germany or anything like that. Spain, Italy, anything. I've always been fascinated with New York And I've always wanted to go to New York and see Times Square and the bright lights and walk down the strips where all the famous stores are. And it's just something about that place just fascinates me. It always has. Anytime there's a movie that's cast in New York City, I love watching it. I love seeing everything. Um, wasn't that movie Home Alone lost in when he lost in New York? Home Alone in New York? The second one, not the first one. But there's a lot of stuff about New York that I would just really like to experience. Hello, Little Bit and Texas Life Julie. There, finally, they come up on the screen, but they go away so fast that it's hard for me to see the name of who it is and stuff. I don't know how to get that back, so I'm not gonna mess with it since I've got it showing up. And now that I know, if I do another live, I'll know when I come on there um, what settings to use. Thanks to the person that came on here and told me that. Thank you very much for that because I didn't have any idea why my comments were turned off. I try not to turn my comments off. I leave them because I want people to respond and leave me comments. And if you turn your comments off, they can't do that. And I couldn't understand why because I thought I didn't hit the button that said turn comments off. Why are the comments turned off? But I found out. And you know what? It's so crazy. I should have known that because back in the beginning of my YouTube channel, I did the same thing on one of my videos, and then I asked people to leave comments, and they couldn't. And I went back and looked at it, and I said, "Okay, I know why the comments was turned off because I hit that button in my settings." So now that I know, I'll make sure not to do that. Um, for as long as this phone lasts, I may end up upgrading. Oh, thank you. This is Jade. I may end up upgrading, to another phone eventually, and then I'll have to learn it all over again. But I know how to do it now on this one. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I got to come on here because I know I've got a lot of new subscribers that was wanting to know all about me. I'm doing fine. November is just hard for me because of those three things that happened and then Thanksgiving thrown in on top of it. I'm generally fine during the rest of the year. I'm a happy person. Generally, I'm laughing and having a good time. I enjoy life. I like my dogs. I like doing things with my dogs. I like doing things around my house. And I'm going to be spending Christmas with one of my very best friends growing up. Um, we worked together many years ago and we became best friends and we're still best friends. And I usually spend every Christmas with her, definitely. And I used to spend a lot of holidays with her. One time I even lived with her. It was after I left my husband and was filing for a divorce, and I moved in and stayed with her for a little while. So we've gotten pretty tight, and her family always has me for Christmas, and they buy me presents and treat me just like I belong there, like I'm one of them. Her mom, last time I talked to me, she told me her mom was getting in pretty bad shape, and I told her if she needed help, to hire a caregiver that to consider me because I would be willing to go over there and stay with her mom and help her mom in any way I could. She has trouble walking. She uses a walker and a cane. So I told her, I said, if you should need to hire somebody, consider me. Harley. Oh, that's a cute name for a dog. I had a dog one time named Riley that was a rat terrier. Yeah, her name was Riley. Or his name, it was a boy. His name was Riley. I don't know how in the world I come up with that name. Sometimes when I get pets, their names just pop. Hey, Cindy. Is that my sister, Cindy? I can't tell by her thumbnail. She had her thumbnail was dolphins, not her. So I'm guessing it's her. Oh, okay. Hey, sis, my sister. Um, But yeah, I told her, I said, if you need help with her, you can always hire me to come in and I'll help. I'll even help bathe her and change her diaper if need be because she's like a mama to me. They've been good to me. Oh, I do. That's nice, I guess. Is it that I remind you of your aunt? Is it? Is that a good thing or should I be scared? I don't know. But my mom and dad always told me growing up that I reminded them of my Aunt Betty because I was like her in a lot of ways. She had characteristics and I did too, and we were both stubborn, and she was, and I was. And I had this gap. Okay. I had this gap in my tooth that I could put a straw in, and she did too, but she had an artificial tooth in there. Um, Later, when I got in my 20s, I had my teeth bonded in the front. They bonded four of them, so they brought that gap together. But yeah, I always wondered, if maybe. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's cool that you got to come back. I know what I did wrong now, Cindy. So next time I do a live, I will come on live and be going right from the beginning because one of my wonderful subscribers on here, I guess you're a subscriber, or one of my wonderful viewers, people on here viewing, come on here and told me what I needed to do. So now I know exactly how to do it. But what I was going to say is, I often wondered if maybe I was actually one of her kids and we got mixed up because we spent a lot of time together as a family growing up. My dad would sometimes move in with her, and sometimes she would move her kids in with us. And I sometimes wondered if maybe during the moves and stuff, they had switched a baby. And I had a cousin who was the same age as me. He was a boy named Charles. And I wondered if maybe they accidentally switched Charles, and Charles was supposed to be my daddy's boy, and I was supposed to belong to my Aunt Betty because I was so much like her. I looked like her, I acted like her, I had her personality. But I don't know. I guess that's possible, isn't it? When families live together so close and stuff. Maybe that my mom and her were pregnant at the same time and had babies, and they looked so much alike that one time they accidentally picked up the wrong baby and took it home with them. Now that would be something to make a movie about, wouldn't it? Which I think there's probably been movies about that. The one that I could think of is Freaky Friday, where the mother and the daughter change places. Do you think that? Well, Cindy, you probably ain't old enough to remember that, though. I was going to ask you, do you think that I was switched with one of Aunt Betty's kids? But you probably ain't old enough to remember that. But yeah, we did. We spent a lot of time with them, lived with them when they were homeless, and we lived with her when we were homeless, and we spent a lot of time together because I think she had 7 kids in her family, and of course there were 9 in ours. So we always had a lot of kids running around. Cousins, cousins are like your first sisters and brothers that you have growing up. But I bet you anything, they were both pregnant a lot at the same time because all of us kids, we each have a cousin in her family that kind of match up to us. Freaky Friday, too. Oh, I like the one that had Jamie Lee. Was it Jamie Lee Curtis in it? There's been several different top Freaky Friday videos put out, with different actors in them. But I like the one that had Jamie Lee Curtis in it. That was a good one. And I think there was one with Lindsay Lohan. That might be Lindsay Lohan, might be the one that was with Jamie Lee Curtis. Christmas movies are, and I didn't do it this year for some reason. Well, usually I dig out all of my Christmas movies in November, the end of November. And each day in December, I watch a different Christmas movie each night because I have quite a few of them. But I didn't do it this year. One of my favorite ones to watch is a kid's Christmas movie. It's called Emmett Otter All Jug Band Christmas. And it's it's not a cartoon, but it's done with puppets. Has anybody else ever seen that movie? It wasn't very popular. I think that I actually seen it on TV at one time. And that's how I found out about a Freakier Friday. Okay, cool. That would be good to see. Yeah, that would be good to see. But the jug band, I love that. Jade, you're pulling my top down. You're going to make our YouTube be R-rated. Jade, high five. High five. I wish I could get her to hit that bell like that. I've been working on trying to get them to hit that little doggy bell I got that teaches them to go out. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They're kind of acting like they're scared of it. Neither one of them wants to have anything to do with it. She'll do this, high five. She'll high five, but she won't. Yeah, she won't touch the button. Well, I see now that I'm at an hour, and so I think this is probably a live stream for getting off of here time. I want to thank everybody that came here. Let's see, it shows right now that I have 20 people watching, but only, okay, 19 thumbs up, so that's good. So I'm glad you 20 people that are on here are here. Yeah, I like that one too, Christmas Vacation. Actually, I think that Christmas Vacation was one of the first National Lampoon videos that I ever watched. It's good. I like that. That's a good one. I like the Christmas Story. I like Deck the Halls. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say bye and thank you to, oh, it went away. I can't see it. I want to thank you 22 people that are on here now. 22 likes. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. That's going to help my channel whenever the thumbs up are there. For those of you who are watchers and not creators that did not know this, if you find a channel that you really enjoy, engaging with that channel will help it to grow and help YouTube to push it out there more. And by engaging, that means subscribing, thumbs ups, comments, and sharing. All those things YouTube looks at. Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, those are good ones too. But if you do that for that channel, you're going to help that channel to grow more because YouTube sees that as interacting with that particular creator. And they say, oh, okay, this person's doing a good job. Their videos are interesting. They're engaging. People like to watch them. And they push our videos out there to more people. So if you see a channel that you watch and you like, be sure that you do this. And if you're not subscribed and you want to, subscribing helps. Sharing helps. And definitely leaving comments. That helps the person out. It helps me when I see the comments with the names of the people, because then I know who's been with me for a while and I can get to know that person on a more personal level too. So I'm going to say bye. I said a while ago, but this time I really am. I want to thank you guys for coming and watching this video, and I hope I know how to turn it off. Now that's the next thing. There's an X over in this corner. I'm thinking if I tap that X, it's going to go. So I'm going to say thank you guys for visiting with me. Y'all remember your life is very short, so make it the absolutely best that you can. And y'all come back and see us out any old time. Bye for this one.